Happy Monday to you. I'm Sarah Jane Weldon. I'm the author of Dead on Doughnuts, which you can get on Amazon in ebook, audiobook, hardback, large print and regular print as well. You can actually get the audiobook free with Audible right now, and I will pop the link here so you can see it. There we go. I hope you're having a really good day. Today I'm going to be reading chapter 3 of Dead on Doughnuts. You can catch up on the other episodes already if you're following me. Dead on Doughnuts, here's a little description of the story. Maddie dreams of opening her own detective agency with her best friend. Fresh off her A-levels and looking to save up funds, she and her BFF take a gap year job serving coffee to rich tourists at an Austrian ski resort. But when someone tampers with one of Maddie's sweet creations to snuff out a snooty pastry chef, the offending donut becomes a recipe for disaster. With her dreams of becoming a PI in serious danger, Maddie has next to no time to preserve the cafe's reputation and clear her name. But as the suspect list rises and the trail of breadcrumbs grows stale, her future rests on bringing the killer to justice. Can Maddie close her very first case before she's cooked? Dead on Doughnuts is a deliciously sweet culinary cozy mystery. If you like quirky characters, a heaping measure of intrigue and tasty twists and turns, then you'll love Sarah Jane Weldon's scrumptious whodunit. So there we go. Here is Dead on Doughnuts. As I say, we've already read chapters 1, 2 and 3. The girls, Maddie and Eloise, are still in Oxford, but shortly will be leaving to start their gap year in the fictional ski resort of Val D'Isera in Austria. So there we go. Here's inside the book, and let's begin with chapter 3. And if you've got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them for me as well, and I shall answer them in a little bit. But here we go. Chapter 3. Let's begin. We are still in Oxfordshire right now. So this is the summer party at Blenheim Palace, where Winston Churchill used to live, Oxfordshire, England, on the 18th of August 2018. "These are delicious, Mrs. B," I exclaimed, my mouth full of the flaky pastry tartlet. Mrs. B had very kindly offered to provide the food for a summer party being hosted by Eloise's parents and my parents, supposedly in honour of our A-level results and offer of a place at Oxford University the following year. But our results were really just an excuse for our parents to do some networking and brag about their recent successes or clients or how much money they had earned. They were lawyers in the same firm, and there was always a lot of competitive spirit amongst the partners and colleagues. It wasn't a world that Eloise or myself much enjoyed or wanted to be part of, but we knew we were fortunate and that we would never have met each other were it not for our parents choosing to send us to the private school. "Maddie, over there, 12 o'clock. What do you think he wants from her? Do you think she'll see through him?" Eloise whispered into my ear so no one else could hear. "I don't know. I think he has sussed out that she's getting a divorce and wants to take on her case so that he can get a large fee from her," I answered, eyeing up the lawyer and his potential client as they talked underneath the mulberry tree. Our parents had been dragging us to these dull events since we were kids, but we had found our own way to keep ourselves entertained, and we made the most of the opportunity by using it to read people's thoughts, feelings and motives. Then, at the end of the party, when our parents were dissecting the information they had got out of each conversation, Eloise and I would see who got the most things right and who scored the most points in our little game. It was all perfectly innocent, but it made the parties and networking events a little more bearable. "Ah, there you are, Maddie. I've got someone I'd like you to meet." My mother looked especially beautiful in her summer dress, and many eyes were upon her as she breezed across the patio of the mansion house towards the corner where Eloise and I were hiding. "This is Audrey Flandan, daughter of Felix Flandan. You know the man, Daddy's partner in the Paris office. Audrey, this is my daughter Madeline. She's a keen big baker like you. She makes the best cakes. Well, girls, I'll leave you to it. I'm sure you have a lot to talk about." My mother turned on the spot with elegance and wafted off, casting smiles and greetings at the guests as she went. The girl, Audrey, looked quite sour as she surveyed Eloise and me from head to toe, as if we were covered in filth. "So, I hear that you bake, do you? Where exactly did you train?" Audrey raised the perfectly painted thin eyebrow at me as she stared at my face. She was a few years older than me, possibly 20 or 21, and it seemed that my mother's reference to me as a baker had caused her great personal offence. "Oh, Maddie makes the best cakes in the world. They really are good. You should come and try them one day. We both work with Mrs. B, who made the food for the party in her coffee shop, Mrs. Tiggywinkle's." Eloise pretended not to notice Audrey's disgust. "How many stars does it have? Is it a Michelin?" Audrey looked at me seriously, and I suddenly felt quite uncomfortable. She was certainly not an easy person to warm to. I was determined to keep the conversation light. After all, I had done nothing wrong, and there was no need for her spiteful attitude. No, I've not got any formal training. Mrs. B taught me, and it's the best coffee shop in all of Oxford. I don't think it needs any Michelin stars. Customer approval is perfectly sufficient. That might even put people off coming if they thought it was all la-di-da and not a cosy coffee shop with mouth-watering cakes. Audrey looked set on steering the conversation back to her own accolades, as if making a point that we were not to be considered in her league in any shape or form. "And what do you study, or are you still at school?" "We just received our A-level exam results a few days ago, so we're going to have some fun adventures on our gap year now, and then, in September next year, we'll start our degrees at Oxford University." I felt that I was as polite as I could be, and I wasn't going to be drawn into any competition with her, nor did I have anything to prove to an irritating person like her. But Eloise was not letting Audrey off so lightly, and decided to probe further, knowing that the girl would not be satisfied until she had told us whatever it was that she felt we needed to know about her. "And what about yourself? Do you live in Paris like your father?" "Actually, I'm at St. Joseph's Culinary School in Paris. Well, I've just finished. I'm a fully trained pastry chef, and Father is going to buy me a business so I can have my own shop." Eloise looked gruff. Like me, I could sense that she was struggling to work out this strange girl, but she was genuinely impressed by the idea of someone so young owning their own business, and it would be useful for us to get some insight for when we finally set up our own detective agency. "Wow, you really are passionate about business. That's incredible. How very exciting. I bet you can't wait to get stuck in with designing your own shop and seeing all those customers enjoying your pastries." Audrey seemed bored with us already. The words came out of her mouth, but her eyes glazed over, suggesting that she was scanning the party for someone more interesting to speak to. "Not really. To be honest, I'm not even sure if I can be bothered with having my own place, but it keeps my father happy and stops him interfering. Very soon I won't need to work at all, because I come into my own money when I reach 21, so I'll probably just retire and sit by the pool all day." It was the wrong moment for Eloise to take a sip of fizzy champagne, and it almost resulted in Audrey getting a face full of spray as Eloise did her best to control an outburst of laughter. "Aren't you a bit young to retire? I mean, don't you want to do something with your life first? So many opportunities open to you. I don't know, like travel or volunteer or, well, do anything. Won't you be bored sitting by the pool all day?" "Bored? Gosh no. I'd have my friends over, like we do every summer, at our chateau in Saint-Tropez. There are too many parties to get bored, like proper parties." Audrey looked around her to insinuate that this was not a party, but a mere amateur event. I was already struggling to find things to like about this arrogant girl. I would kill my mother later for dumping her on us like that. Audrey was simply vile. "Well, Eloise and I can't wait to start our adventure. We've got jobs as baristas at the Snow Mountain Cafe in the Val D'Isera ski resort in Austria. We applied ages ago without our parents knowing. Of course, we've told them now that we've got our exam results, but we didn't want the grief of having to convince them about us taking a gap year before university. We'll be working at Mrs. B's coffee shop for the rest of the summer before we leave in November, ready for the ski season. I was keen to inject a bit of energy into the conversation because I felt myself getting annoyed and wanting to bop Audrey on the nose, and I sensed that Eloise wasn't far behind me in the punching stakes. It was Audrey's turn to laugh and sneer. Val D'Isera? You wouldn't catch me there in a million years. Father says it's simply the worst resort in the world. It's full of, common people and nouveau rich. Why on earth would you want to go there? Couldn't you get a job in a better class of resort? And to work in a coffee shop of all places. How dull. Eloise was gritting her teeth. Actually, I'm quite looking forward to it. We'll be able to go skiing and snowboarding for free whenever we want. And it'll be great to be in the coffee shop meeting all the resort staff and guests. We'll be at the hub of the community, earning our own money and saving for our future. Thankfully, Father decided to make a toast at that moment, and as he raised his glass and said a few words to the crowd about how clever we were in passing our exams, Eloise and I took a step closer to him and smiled, as much to get away from Audrey as anything else. The girl was exhausting, and we hoped to God we would never see her again. And that is the end of chapter 3, and we're coming up to part 2 in Paris, France, which is our next chapter, which I'll be reading tomorrow. So I hope that you enjoyed Dead on Doughnuts. Don't forget to grab your free copy of the audiobook on Audible, which is read by the very wonderful Kim Breton, who is a proper actress, a voice actress, and does all the characters and reads a little bit nicer than me. So anyway, I really hope that you enjoyed the book. I'm going to do some cooking on Wednesday as well, because it is a culinary cozy mystery and there are recipes included at the back of the book as well. But yeah, I'm going to be making some bangers on mash, very traditional British cooking, here on Wednesday, and I will be reading chapter 4 here tomorrow. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed today's episode of Dead on Doughnuts, and I'm currently writing the next book, which is called Extra Shots, which will be out very, very soon. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll speak to you guys again later. Have a great day. Bye.